Should Tyler Shough start game 2? Ladies and gentlemen, New Orleans football is the backdrop. The face of the franchise is the front drop, if that's a word. All right, so preseason game 1 is in the books. Hey, by the way, did you hear which team was the #1 most viewed team, viewership-wise, ratings-wise, for the first week of preseason? It was the New Orleans Saints, by the way. Interesting. The world is watching the quarterback battle between Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler. All right. I've said this 4 days. I said this in multiple videos this week. I predicted, and I think it makes the most sense in the world, for Spencer Rattler to flip with Tyler Shough from the first week. So Shough would start, Rattler would come in the second half. Game 3 is going to be more of like, all right, it's probably going to be closer to who's the starting quarterback. More than likely, we'll know who the actual week 1 starter is at that point. But week 2, I think you flip it, and then you aggregate the 2 games and just kind of average it out and figure out what you have. Let me talk about the season, though. It makes no sense to me. I have sat back. I bust out the abacus, all right? I cannot, for the life of me, figure out a reason why you would start Tyler Shough in week 1 of the regular season. Every single decision tree that I can see, every decision matrix, the worst case scenario only happens if you start Tyler Shough in week 1. So even though Shough may be outperforming Rattler in these preseason games or whatever, unless Rattler is unplayable, unless he is just horrible, which he's not, we haven't seen him be horrible or unplayable yet, so why would he? I think you got to start Rattler. And in this video, if they talk about it, we'll kind of get into why I don't think it makes any sense to start Tyler Shough in week 1. So in a way, to me, the quarterback battle is Fugazi because it's already determined. As far as I'm concerned, Spencer Rattler is starting week 1 of the regular season. Regardless, or irregardless, as a lot of my friends would say, of what happens in preseason game 2 and preseason game 3.
Tyler Shough looked good game 1. Has looked good in practice. Yesterday, we'll see what he does today and potentially tomorrow, whether they're practicing against themselves or the Rams. But do you think that Shough should start game 2?
I mean,
okay, let me back up. So the reason I said he should start game 2 is because you got to give them different game states. If you flip-flop the game states, you get basically a full game from both, and you can measure it against each other. Versus if Rattler is only starting and Shough is only coming into the second half, and Rattler is only playing with the starters, and Shough is only playing with backups, and Rattler is only playing when the game is close or tied or whatever, or Shough is only playing when they're behind. This helps even out everything and gives each quarterback virtually a full game and the most breadth when it comes to the actual game state they're facing.
Absolutely, I think he should.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I think he should because I think they should give both these guys a fair shake. I don't think he should because I think he's already passed Spencer Rattler up. And I mean, I think that's the...
Yeah, agreed. I don't think this has anything to do with who is better right now. I think it's strictly crossing your I's and dotting your T's, if you know what I'm saying.
Only fair way to decide if both of, I mean, you're evaluating it and you're deciding.
Yeah.
My only question is if that seems like the obvious answer, right? First of all, let me pause there and then I'm going to ask a follow-up question. Do you agree that seems like the obvious answer?
Yeah.
And then my follow-up is, if they somehow have already decided internally that they're leaning toward starting Spencer Rattler in week 1 for some of the reasons we said before, which I think are fast dwindling, but then do you stick with Rattler? Like, if that's...
No, you go back to him in week 3. This is what I think is going to happen and what I would do. I would start Shough in this game, play Rattler in the second half. I would announce Rattler as the starter going into game 3. I would play my starters or however they're going to do it in game 3 and go from there. And then it's on.
Sort of your plan? Do you have to give Rattler every start so he can find his groove since he obviously struggled in the last game? Or it's like too bad. This is a wide open competition now, and Shough might take it.
Hold on. I'm not following you on the Rattler part. Say that again.
Like, what if, I mean, I think a week ago we thought all signs pointed to Rattler starting. I mean, he started both scrimmages. He started the first preseason game. It feels like this team internally was leaning toward starting Rattler in week 1. Plus, he's the experienced one. Plus, you're protecting Shough from that tough schedule. Like, if you're starting Rattler in week 1, if that's what they're leaning toward doing, do you have to give him every start to prepare him for the season? Or
no. And if you were internally leaning that way anyways, you would have given Rattler the 2-minute drill at the end of the first half.
Should they still be treating this as a open competition 2 weeks into camp?
I mean, I think there was probably a lean towards Rattler because that's what the data was telling you, but yeah. It's what we've been saying all along. I think the very day that Tyler Shough clicked and has it go, things lean towards Tyler Shough. They replaced Spencer Rattler on April 25th. That's just a cold hard.
I think, look, honestly, I think this riddle and this puzzle has kind of shown itself of what their plan is. And sometimes in sports, when you're doing analysis, you're trying to break things down or whatever, you have to remove all the noise. And right now the noise is all the reps. It's the every single completion percentage from practice and training camp and whatever. Here's the plan. Here's what the Saints are doing. This is the linear path that they are trying to get to. All the other stuff in the middle, the minutia, doesn't really matter. Unless something catastrophic happens, like an injury or Tyler Shough throws 7 pick 6 or whatever. Spencer Rattler is going to start the season. They are hoping that Tyler Shough develops and is better than or the same as Rattler come week 5. Then they're going to play Shough for the rest of the season beginning week 5. At that point, the only way Shough is going to be benched, don't look at me like that, Michael. The only way Shough is going to get benched at that point is if he is horrible, in which they will go back to Rattler, the veteran, who they know low ceiling, high floor, whatever. At the end of the season, we are going to see how much faith they have in either of these two guys, or they're going to draft a quarterback. That's what's going to happen. That's the plan. They showed you that their future investments, I guess, are in Tyler Shough. And as far as the future, which could be week 5, could be week 6, could be week 7, could be week 8, the future, they see Tyler Shough. The short term, the safe route, the most guaranteed way to ensure that investment comes to fruition is by starting Spencer Rattler. The worst case scenario is you play Shough too early and he's not ready, and then you have to bench him, play Rattler, then bench Rattler, then play Shough, and then pray to God that the second time you put him in there, he's good. The way you get away from that and the way you remove that risk is you start Rattler. And you let Rattler go. Worst case scenario in that situation, Rattler's really good, right? Because then you're like, well, damn, we were planning on benching Rattler, but if he's really, really good, we'll just let him keep going. And then potentially you could trade him or whatever. Like then there's a whole bunch of different stuff going on. If you play Rattler at the beginning and he struggles for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's really, there's no risk for the Saints because they'll just go to Tyler Shough, which is their plan anyways. And they've given Shough 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever, of extra time to develop. The dumbest thing you could do is just skirt the Rattler part, push Shough out there, risk him, risk his development, get him out there too early, and then you have nothing. You have no plays. You have no lines.
Fact. It's not. Nobody wants. Like they drafted him where they drafted him. They had Rattler on the team, and I don't want to make it sound like insane or like fan of conspiracy theory or anything like that, but like nobody. They don't want Spencer Rattler to win. Like he's the underdog here. Like the want is for the guy that you saw.
So now this is where I'll push back on the verbiage a little bit. I think the coaching staff looks at this the same way that I look at it. They look at it like it's less of we want Tyler Shough to win, and it's more of we expect Tyler Shough to win. So if we expect Tyler Shough to win, the quarterback battle. How do we best protect that? How do we best insulate our investment? I don't think they care. I don't think they care if Tyler Shough wins or Spencer Rattler wins. So I don't think there's any want involved. And I say they're thinking of it the same way I am, because I could care less if Spencer Rattler wins this quarterback battle or if Tyler Shough does. I'm not rooting for either guy. Doesn't matter to me. I will root for Aaron Brooks. I will root for Taysom Hill. I will root for Jameis Winston. I will root for Derek Carr. I will root for Tyler Shough. I will root for Spencer Rattler. Whatever. And I think the Saints are looking at it the same way, where it's like, just like I always use the 49ers for an example. When Trey Lance and Brock Purdy, and they had the whole like Brock Purdy, it was just like, it was the Brock Purdy, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance like 5-way dance for a couple years there. I think the 49ers were looking around the room and they were saying it would be the best for business if Trey Lance won this competition, because we have the most invested in him. He's a high pick. We traded up to get him, whatever. He's got the most physical upside. We expect, though, Brock Purdy is going to win this battle. And then you prepare to insulate that investment. Of course, the 49ers didn't want, quote unquote, want Brock Purdy to win that battle, because then they're going to look like fools with the Trey Lance thing. And they did. But it is what it is. And the Saints are in a good situation here because it doesn't really matter who wins or loses this battle, because there's nothing invested in either pick. If Shough plays, isn't great, Rattler plays, isn't great, and it's just kind of 2 C+, C- quarterbacks going back and forth, then they'll just draft a guy or sign a guy or however it plays out next year, and no one will really care. It's kind of like Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell battling. They're both kind of whatever. Okay, they go sign Geno. And then who cares, right? So the good news is we don't have much to lose in this situation.
And picked and thought was going to be good to be the one. So it's what I've always said. Like, I feel like Spencer has to not just knock him out with one punch, but like he's got to get the other punch going down, and it has to be dead, gone, buried, burned.
Yeah, Rattler has to be Brock Purdy.
No coming up.
Rattler has to be Brock Purdy. He has to lead this team to like 12, 13, 14 wins. Rattler has to. The only way the Hoodats will not go to Tyler Shough is if Rattler does something like go 4-0 to start, or they're 4-2 or 6-1, something crazy to where it's like, damn, we can't bench this guy. But if they're 2-2, 1-3, 0-4, 1-4, 2-3, they'll bench him. So he has to. And is that fair? I don't know. Like, what is fair? Rattler absolutely has to go nuts. Now, if Rattler goes 1-4, 2-3, 2-2, whatever the combination is by the time they go to Shough, and then Shough comes in and goes 0-6, they'll probably go back to Rattler. So it's like a volley in tennis. It's like a return serve situation once they make their move.
From the grave, no zombie bodies. Like, he has to just absolutely win this to have it, unless it's the the triplet plan where you go 4 and out. But other than that, no. Like, I don't think that you give Spencer. Like, I think it would be crazy not to give Shough game 2. Not only 8.
That would be nuts. That would be insane. You gave him 30 passes in game 1. You gave him the 2-minute drill, which was the biggest indicator of the whole thing. And I keep saying this, and I want to make this clear, because I know the comments are already going to be like, well, Spencer looked better. Spencer didn't get a chance to do this. Tyler did this. That's the minutia I'm talking about. Remove all that. Just see the linear path the Saints are trying to take. Just see where they're trying to get to. Sidebar, the Harry Potter books. J.K. Rowling, the first thing she wrote was the end. And I won't say the end to spoil it, but the rest of the books, the rest of her writing was getting to the end. All that was just the minutia to get to from the end, which she knew, like, okay, this is where I want to end the story. I want to get here. All the stuff in the middle was just linking it and getting it together, and then the beginning. That's where we're at. Don't get bogged down in going to Hogsmeade. This is some crazy Harry Potter stuff going on here. Don't get bogged down in which house whoever is getting sorted into. Don't get bogged down to who wins the Triwizard Cup, right? We got an end we're trying to get to. The Saints' end is Tyler Shough, his value being realized, and him being the franchise quarterback of this team. So what's the best way for the Saints to get there? The one pivot point can be, well, I guess there's two pivot points. Not really. It's one pivot point. The second pivot point would be if Shough is horrible and then they have to go back to Rattler, but at that point the whole thing kind of implodes. The one pivot point would be if Shough or if Rattler pulls a Brock Purdy and all of a sudden you're 6-0, all of a sudden you're 8-0, all of a sudden you're the 1 seed. What do you do then? Right? That's the one thing. That's the one variable they can't account for. So when you're trying to view this thing, view it as what would be the best path, the easiest path, the smartest path, the most efficient path for the Saints to get to that end destination of Tyler Shough being the franchise quarterback. The answer to that question is start him in game 2 and then start Spencer Rattler when the season starts.
A, I think he earned it. B, I think it'd be crazy not to have the total evaluation. But as soon as like there's a new data point, like you have to let go of your prior evaluation. Not like you don't want to be like, you know, the guy on the Screaming Sports Show dying on the hill. Like, no, like there is new information. Now it is time to adjust to it and reevaluate it. And it's always been this, because you're talking about a developmental player. It's the thing we've been saying for weeks. Like they're on day 14 of camp. Who's the best quarterback on day 14 if they're playing their game on day 15? It's just a matter of who is the best one at the end. Like if you came in and were like, well, Spencer's ahead and like nobody can ever catch him, that's kind of a weird process to run. So like I think they just have to go with it. I think you start him in game 2 unless they have these joint practices and you get all the work in on that day. And like I don't know how that all marries together, but that would be fascinating to see actually. But I think you got to start Shough.
Yeah, I think so too. It's amazing how quickly things have changed a week ago. Like I said, the only devil's advocate, and
you know what's crazy? I don't think it's changed at all. I mean, again, not to toot my own horn. It is my favorite thing to do. But I've been saying pretty much we've been building out this line for months. And I think this just makes the most sense. So I don't think this has changed one bit from last week at all of what the plan was. I don't think the plan was ever to start Tyler Shough week 1. The only way you get there is if Spencer Rattler is unplayable or if Tyler Shough is the greatest player of all time, and then your hand is forced. But from what we saw in week 1, where Spencer Rattler is fine and then Tyler Shough throws a pick 6, I think you can already write off like, okay, either A, Spencer Rattler's unplayable, or Tyler Shough be the greatest player of all time. And so if those two are written off, then it leads you back to your priors, which is the prior line of thinking of Spencer Rattler starts week 1 of the regular season, Tyler Shough starts preseason game 2, and then Tyler Shough's waiting in the wings for either game 5 or whenever it happens, and you know, that's just how it's going to be.
And look, I think it's obvious you have to start Shough. He's earned it. You need to find out. You need to find out if he keeps this momentum up, and it's like, you know, like you said, new data. For all those reasons, he's completely earned the opportunity. My only devil's advocate is if this team has already decided and pretty much is deciding it's going to start with Rattler, are they doing a disservice to the team if they don't fully prepare Rattler for the start of the season? That's
no. What are we talking about?
That's the only qualm. But I don't think that I think they should be open-minded, and I think we've had so much new data.
You are fully a half a foot. Starting Spencer Rattler in the second preseason game versus playing him in the second half is not going to make a difference in preparing this team for him to be the starter. If Tyler Shough starts game 2, Rattler comes in the second half, Rattler's named the starter, Rattler starts game 3, and then you go into whatever it is because you have the bye week and all that stuff after the third preseason game, so you have like a week of prep, the game, a bye week. So you have them 3 weeks, I guess. You have 3 weeks of Spencer Rattler being the starter. I think the team is fully prepped. You're ready to roll. Not to mention he was there last year. So I don't think flipping the second half versus the first half in the second preseason game matters at all when it comes to preparing the team for success for starting Spencer Rattler.
In the last 8 days, what if we continue to see that trend over the next 5 days. I absolutely think all of a sudden, I wouldn't have guessed this a week ago, but I think all of a sudden Tyler Shough could win this thing and be starting as early as week 1. And I didn't actually think that seemed possible a week ago, and now I think it seems almost, I don't want to say probable. What's the odd? What would Vegas have it at right now? Who's most likely to start week 1 right now?
I think.
Let me go check. So I can't see it. I guess it's not up in Louisiana, but on Outkick, there were an article 2 days ago that they've got Spencer Rattler as minus 245 as the betting favorite to start week 1, and Shough is now plus 190. So the favorite is for, like we're saying, it's a heavy favorite, TBH, and that's to be honest. But the betting favorite right now, the Vegas favorite as of 2 days ago, is Spencer Rattler at minus 245.
Chuck, but like two things on that. And again, I know you're just laying out like the not the other side of the argument, but like if it was just all in on Rattler the whole time, running it like this would be incredibly stupid. Yeah. You've wasted like a whole 2 weeks of whatever it is, 3 weeks of snaps rotating them. So
I don't think there is. I mean, they're definitely not all in on Rattler. I mean, we just laid it out. Like, I don't have to keep rehashing it, but they're not all in on Rattler. They just expect Shough to eventually overtake Rattler and be the guy.
Spencer should have gotten every single first team rep then, and then Tyler should have just been a developmental person, and then the whole process has been grossly mismanaged.
You wouldn't have drafted him. I mean, if you thought Spencer was the man, you wouldn't have drafted Tyler Shough. He's not a developmental player,
I think. Yeah. And like B, then like it wasn't ever a competition, and it is a competition. And look, I think he can still lose it though. Like he could go out in this game and play terrible. Like you got to see him against a higher level.
What have we said? Winning this quarterback battle, being named the starter, doesn't mean anything. All it means is like, okay, you got your opportunity. But Rattler is named the starter, and he goes out. And people are going to be celebrating, and it's Rat Daddy time, and hashtag Rat Daddy and whatever. Like, we're going to be seeing the snake emoji all over the place. Okay, well, if he goes out there in week 1, gets absolutely dog walked, throws 4 interceptions, he will be benched. If Tyler Shough is named quarterback 1, and there's a parade in the streets. Okay, well, if he has a 3-4 game stretch where he's no touchdowns, 6 picks, offense is struggling, can't score a touchdown, he'll get benched. Winning this quarterback battle doesn't mean anything in the long run. The Saints are trying to get to the end game, Thanos style, which is Tyler Shough being the guy. But there's a lot of teams that were trying to get to that end game. Pittsburgh was trying to get to the end game of Kenny Pickett being the guy. All right. Again, the 49ers are trying to get to the end game of Trey Lance being the guy. We've seen that. I mean, the Jets, Zach Wilson. I mean, the Jaguars are still trying to make Trevor Lawrence the guy. So just because that's your plan doesn't mean much, because the player still has to do what the player has to do. But you can see the plan. You can see what's happening. You can see the end goal for all these quote unquote quarterback battles.
A competition. I think that would be the whole point of doing it. Or if if they practice against the Rams, he could go out there against the Rams and look terrible, and then that blows up. So it's still very much an open thing. But yeah, I mean, I believe very, very much so that it was always the possibility that like it clicked and it came together, and now he's here, and I think he's here right now. So that's going to take us into our next topic.
All right, it's going to take me to the end of the video. Ladies and gentlemen. All right. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments below, because this almost feels like one of those episodes of the David Copperfield, like how he explains magic or whatever, where it like you take away some of the magic, you take away some of the we got to watch what Tyler Shough's wearing during warm-ups, or we got to watch Spencer Rattler, what's the day 17 throw charts and all that stuff. But I think it's way more simple than that. If you're ever playing chess or poker or any game like that, a lot of the times you're just trying to find these lines, and I say that all the time. Lines are lines to victory. What is the line to win, right? Like if you play Magic the Gathering or Hearthstone or like a trading card game, you can always find a line to, all right, what's my way to win? And then the decision points are just built throughout that line. I think it's the same thing here, where you find your line as an organization and you try and make that work. And all the other stuff kind of just falls in the middle. All right, ladies and gentlemen, TGIFOTF, thank God it's Friday, or thank God it's the face of the franchise. Come on, what are we doing here? Get you a damn shirt. Get you a damn mug. New hats on the way soon. Man, I got so much. I have so much merch in the works. I was thinking about it yesterday. I can't even keep up with everything that's coming down. All right, so right now we have 2 new shirts coming. We've got, and we'll show all these designs and all the stuff when they are available, or when I get them. We have 4 more hats, or 4 new hats, with a 5th hat coming late September. And then, of course, new stickers as well. So if you don't know, when you get an order, if you buy anything, you get all the stickers for free. I just throw a handful of stickers into each package. So we got new stickers coming. Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on another freaking level. And I'll see you in the next video.